Hello, we're in the lobby for ByuN versus Symbol.
Yep, should be hopefully starting soon. I asked ByuN in chat just as a bit of a silly thing, like, who are you more afraid of in the other semifinal? Give me or Neve, and he says both.
Oh, well,
It's fun because I think a lot of people have been taking ByuN's value. Like, there was that one game we cast a little while back where in the middle of fighting Snoot, he had to stop and say, like, wow, damn, you're good, right? Like,
yeah,
at that point, people realize, like, ByuN's, I think, judgment is pretty valuable, and he's got a good judge of, like, foreigners and whatnot. So if ByuN is ever scared of anybody, that speaks pretty highly of him. Neve and Gumiho both been put on that same level. Gumiho is like an old school Terran too, who has gone TvT toe to toe with ByuN. You like what I did there? And I can certainly understand ByuN being maybe a little bit annoyed / afraid to play Gumiho, but Neve being Protoss and ByuN specifically versus Protoss, I thought he would have been more scared of Neve for certain.
I agree. But Gumiho has, I mean, TVTs with a lot of these Terrans are just like, they're real treats, really. We're just so used to them. Because they're pretty evenly matched.
So I guess there's some BattleNet being down issues. So first off, nobody log off, but secondly, Neeb's having issues logging back on. That could be a problem.
Can you log into Peanut at all? Yeah, I mean, I guess she's trying to confirm that he even can. I mean, I don't think he can walk over.
I'll put her in contact with Neeb. My concern though is what happened to Symbol.
Same problem, perhaps. No, he's right there. I don't know. I don't know why he isn't being invited. He's right there. Right there. There he is. Has it been a particularly long Olimoleague cast?
I don't think so. Right about par for the course. What, we start 3? 2.5 hours in?
2.5 hours.
It's not that long at all. All right, well, guys, again, thank you for joining us for this, by the way. Substantially larger viewership than normal. It's kind of nice. Hitting about 3K as we hit the semifinals. Feels good, man.
Yeah. Symbol is in the lobby, but then the Korean casters left. So, never mind. I'm coming.
As everyone's just logging around. Real quick to note, by the way, if you're a BaseTradeTV fan, hopefully you already have our calendar bookmarked and you already know what's going on with the channel, but follow the channel if you aren't already. Secondly, and more importantly, we're going to be online every morning this week. 7 a.m. Pacific. We got some group stage stuff coming up. We got some WCS stuff coming, or WCA, excuse me, stuff coming up. And even one of those is going to be the WCS European Passport Qualifier Day 2. So quite a bit of casting coming up over the next 3 to 4 days. I hope you guys will join us for all of it.
Yep. Korean casters doing a sound test, I guess. It's going to be a few more seconds.
I'm loving people who clip this, that bailing hit, by the way. There's one on Reddit I see from Dude Get Crunk.
It was a pretty solid bailing hit.
I was less impressed with the bailing hits than I was with the control of the mutas to properly bait them over the bailings. Dorian Manhattan cries out, "You guys aren't casting Neve's match? Why?" So as stated for those who weren't here when we explained the delay, there's some BattleNet issues actually right now where Neve's actually having problems logging on. That being said, classically every Olimoleague we ever do, we cast both semifinals, one after the other. So don't sweat it. Right now we're going to try and make sure we do cast both. But if for some reason Neve can't log on, that may end up forcing a forfeit in a very unfair scenario. We don't actually know what's going on with that right now.
Yeah, he's responding on Skype. Yeah, I don't think everyone's on the same page quite yet either. So the Korean casters have left, but...
They are doing sound tests.
No, then they said we go Neve versus Gumiho.
Wait, but Neve isn't online.
That's why I said I don't think everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, like the admin's just kind of like, what are you dummies doing?
Yeah. So it's also not on the same page as whether or not we're doing one semifinal after the other, but it needs to actually be able to log on before we even decide, I guess. Here's go. That's what happens.
Okay, well,
It's affecting everyone, apparently. There's a DDoS attack.
oh, I wonder if that's that.
Stay logged in if you can.
All right, well, while we are waiting, I'm hoping the Korean casters come back this way. Come back over here, guys, so we can come here and we can start this with the player. Come here.
Come here, puppy. Come on.
Come on.
That's not cool. They aren't gonna like
Korean
us.
casters coming back or what? Well, what I don't know. Okay, well, guys, as we do wait, I don't really have a lot to talk about since we already went through our advertising spiel. I just remind everybody once again we do have our latest co-op on YouTube. I would love for you guys to check that out. We've been having a lot of fun with co-op, and it's definitely my favorite part of StarCraft right now. I got to be honest, I haven't touched ladder in almost 3 weeks now, but I've been playing co-op every single week without fail for the mutations. So hopefully you guys like it too.
So...
Wait, why wouldn't they come here? Are we not doing both semis? I'm actually not.
Thrilled about not doing both semis. As I finish
I'm not.
sentence.
No, it's more like I'm not okay with it, actually.
So we're just banning them.
So tell them to not be dummies. Come here.
Nope, we're going. Okay, whatever. Fine, it's their loss.
All right, Korean casters.
Whatever.
I wish you the best of luck.
Alright. This is gonna be awkward. Let's just cast this best of 3, and then we'll see where we end up after that. It's ByuN versus Symbol on New Gettysburg as the default first map. In the bottom left as the blue Terran, he is ByuN.
And in the bottom right side, he's playing really well so far today. It's going to be the pink Zerg player, Symbol. I just... That game versus Keen was cool. It showcased a lot of the cool stuff Symbol can do. There's the hype of the Banelings and all this stuff. But ByuN is the guy, right? Like, he's the gold standard of, like, can you beat Terran? Symbol's going to have to pull out every trick in his book to get through these semifinals.
Yeah. ByuN did lose to Hydra recently in the Lefang Cup yesterday morning, or last night for him, I guess. And it was not like, oh, Hydra Bane busted him, or Hydra knew his exact weakness was a Nidus Worm at blank minutes. No, it was pretty typical Korean Zerg stuff. Hydra was going for first Ling upgrades into Infestors, right? And then the next game he went into Mutas. And both worked out against ByuN, and ByuN even went back to his normal build, so you couldn't even blame that. It just... Hydra was playing decent, and ByuN wasn't playing like ByuN. Thanks to October's very own 416 for the new sub. Woohoo!
But it's not October yet.
Well, people are already selling pumpkin spice lattes and stuff.
Oh my god, I've actually seen Christmas stuff in the drugstore or whatever. I was just like, are you serious? Like, come on.
You know,
There's at least like one big holiday in between.
Halloween? Right? Is that the big holiday? Or Thanksgiving? Well, Thanksgiving for you guys in October,
Actually,
isn't it?
Thanksgiving is not as big in Canada, I guess it would be in America, but yeah, it's like in Halloween. Like you got, so if you can count Thanksgiving too, then because America, right? That's even like 2 in between.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is not as big as either one of those for us either, but it is delicious. And for some reason, I don't know why, talking about Thanksgiving made me crave ravioli, which is not something I've ever had on Thanksgiving. But damn, I really want it now. I want like Chef Boyardee. Oh dear. Okay, I'm out of whack, I think. You know how like it actually being up in the air, like an airplane, actually tastes like or changes your taste buds or whatever, changes what your body wants. So that's why you have a craving for tomato juice, like only if you're in the in an airplane. Because I've never had a craving otherwise, but I have had that craving when on a flight. Anyways, it's a science thing, okay? I think the same thing might happen when casting. Also, just thinking about food in general is not a good idea when casting. Hunger. Alright, so that aside, ByuN is going for a factory. Okay, no, he did go for the barracks first. So it's back to basic ByuN, but as I mentioned, Hydra beat him while he used this build. Usually this is his unbeatable, okay, eventually I'm going to win, whether it's in the mid game or the late game, it's still going to go well for me. And it did not versus Hydra. So if Simple can play a mean middle lane bling game, and we just saw him play one, ByuN might still be in trouble. I really think ByuN's greatest weakness, besides sometimes his mentality, is, or his nerves, more accurately, not his mentality, is middle lane bling. His Widow Mine control is surprisingly bad, and he just sometimes gets overwhelmed, but it's not Ling Baneling at all. It's going to be a Roachborn from Symbol. I don't really like this. I think ByuN's very good against Roaches.
I think he is too. I think, well, actually, if we're going to use that logic, ByuN's good against everything at some point, but I think from merits we've seen in foreign areas, ByuN in that particular getting defeated by Ravagers and Fungal Growths, that has beat him more times than Ultras has. That's beaten him more times than anything else has. So that's the reasoning for it, and then you're like, okay, this is something that's worked in the past, I'm Symbol, I've trained and adapted it, then that's kind of cool. But if this is just Roaches for the sake of like trying to get some early Ravager pressure or anything like that, I don't think it's going to work.
Thanks to Jimmy Schm for the Jimmy Schmo9. There we go. It's all capitals on Twitch alerts. For the 5-month resub. Hey, really fun to meet Zombie Group at Montreal, but who knew Desra was so short? I guess I've always known he was kind of short. I guess I wouldn't have really described him as short, to be honest. I was always average height. Because I'm average height, though. Anywho. Lings here are going to, I guess, kind of force ByuN to unload, like, very quickly right outside of his base, which is a little awkward. And they're still going for those 1-1 upgrades on his Roaches. This might be a surprise factor. You know, ByuN drops, it's like, oh shit, it's actually Roaches, not Lings and Banelings, but he's going to find out fast enough to be able to react to it. It's not like he's gonna, you know, have no tanks and fail. No, he's still gonna have his drops going every which way, and Symbol's still gonna be macroing. So he sees it. Now he knows. He just has to, I guess, confirm. Some players do still go for like early game Roaches against Terran just in cases, even though it's not really necessary anymore. But usually if you're going Roaches, you're sticking on them. So the medevac drug was in the main base. There is a defense here already. And I don't think it's going to be doing very much. ByuN is going for the 3rd CC behind us with double upgrades. It just boosts past the Spore Crawler, but with so little air around Gaisberg. Oh, wow! How did he get 7 drones? Oh no, and he takes care of the Roaches on top too.
Widow Mines are cool as hell, that's why.
Picks up there, saves about 1 medevac's worth. This one not doing so well beyond that Widow Mine, but 7 drones is, I think, worth. Granted, he saves a medevac, which he is not going to be able to do, it looks like. Yeah. That should be dead. 1-1's about to finish up for ByuN, a little ahead of Symbol. And he's got that armory already finished too, so if everything lines up perfectly, he'll still have that upgrade lead. Symbol once again has this like very limited amount of creep tumors, but good creep spread. So ByuN just needs 1 scan really to clean up quite a few. Oh, how are you not dead? There we go. He's gonna get 1 drone. Get it! No! So close. People saying tomato juice is good in general. Man, I've never been like, let's go to a restaurant, and my friends are like, yeah, I'm gonna order some tomato juice. Like, okay, that doesn't happen. Don't lie to me, guys. It's far more likely to hear someone ask for it on a plane than it is in daily ground life. Okay? Alright? Alrighties? This is super interesting. This feels very old, actually. And Simple is bringing out some older builds, but to Roach into Muta transition is it's something. It's not, you know, brand new. It's not like, oh my god, so ingenious. It's just, it's old. It's old-fashioned, and it's going to be a lot more based on surprise, I think, than it is actual power of the units. Trying to get ByuN out of his comfort zone is, I guess, one of the best ways to defeat him. But I don't know if he'll be too surprised. He drops so commonly, he's getting some very good scouting. Overlord does get cleared up, doesn't deny that for very long.
No, not like last time we're still about that really sick Ling run in and burrow and be really extra annoying.
He won't have Tobal upgrades on anything here, but he will have at least the Carapace upgrade all done. ByuN did react to the roaches, you know. I think he a bit quicker added on tech labs than maybe otherwise he would have, and he did invest into tank upgrades, not just a couple of tanks. Whereas if this was Mutiling Bling, maybe he doesn't get as many Marauders initially. Maybe it's only 2 at a time instead of 3 at a time, and maybe it's not tanks, it's Widow Mines. But Ling run by is perfectly timed out here. ByuN has to think about pulling back. Notice pulls the SCVs and continues forward. As long as he's not on creep, it's okay, especially if he's paying attention to the army as well. Although in this game, oddly enough, you know, there's no Banelings, so you would be able to react hopefully in time before Curse of Biles hit you as well. Whereas Banelings are a little more instant. Sees the Corruptors. I think he'll want to be a little paranoid about a hive already being done. We know it's not, but you see that and you wonder how far, or how fast, or how greedy they're being about their tech.
Well, Scan does reveal the army moving in, so decides to back away. I mean, ByuN playing this as smart as he can. This is not a fight he wants to take. Running for his life and trying to go back home. I mean, like, yeah, there's all kinds of badness happening. I like the stutter step. I like trying to just get out with as much damage as possible because he knows he's going to take losses either way. But the fact that he doesn't have that third down is all kinds of bad.
Yeah. It's also that these Lings are constantly taking on small chunks of ByuN's units, so his arm supply is a lot worse than it should be. His upgrades are on the way, and that's fantastic, but Symbol has pushed ByuN all the way back now, is taking extra bases, and should be going for a hive, or an infestation pit, soon, I would think. But maybe she's going to try and end the game. ByuN did not have the same type of pacing he usually does. You know, that's so perfect against the expected way that Zergs are playing. Symbol played very unexpectly.
That Curse of Bile just took up both the tanks. What little chance he had, just gone.
Yeah, with the tanks gone. ByuN, people are maybe figuring him out, or maybe just not having a great week against Zerg. He did end up qualifying for Lethang yesterday, but only because there's so many walkovers, so that's whatever. But that Hydra loss might have been the start of something bad for ByuN. Not good.
Well, we're going to quickly get into King Sejong as he's hosting it up. Map number 2.
Cool.
Bit more of a standard map, probably a little more comfortable for him to play on.
Yeah, New Gettysburg was initially going to be Zerg favorite anyway.
So some bad news for everybody. Looks like we won't be casting Gummio versus Neeb, despite advertising that we would be for the last couple hours. So apologies for that. If you want to see that, it's going on the Korean stream currently. I'm going to have to finish up this series and maybe wait a bit, depending.
There we go. King Sejong Station in the bottom rights. Not with 1. I guess I'm so used to giving him 1 point.
Right?
It's like town 1. It is the Blue Terran, ByuN.
Alright, and his opponent's spawn in the upper left. He's actually up 1 game. Yo, we just assumed ByuN was gonna be in the final. Let's go pause this intro real quick. But it might be this guy. It's none other than the Pig Zerg player, Symbol. Now, I really want to take this back one step further. You've got players like Symbol and Soulkey and others who have been attending the Olimoleague for so long, but never really being that dominating force. This is the first time we've looked at Symbol and seen him look this good in such a long time.
Yeah.
I'm happy for it. I mean, seeing any progress in Korean Zerg, it's gonna make me happy, right? Like,
I guess that's true. Overall, I guess representing his race in Korea, but of course, could be just that ByuN's having a bad week.
So I think is he MVP or Freak of Freaks? It's a Freak of Freaks, right?
I think he's a Freak of Freaks now.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been around for quite some time.
I know he's not teamless and floating around. I know that much. Unlike poor ByuN over here.
Yep, poor ByuN. Just keep on winning online cups and being amazing without a team.
By the way, because we had pitched this idea a little while back too about like the idea of trying to like semi-sponsor ByuN. I want to let you guys know an update on that. Since I did talk to him, I'm not going to give away numbers or anything on stream, but after talking to him, it's definitely not something affordable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So that's unfortunately something that's not going to go through. But I still, ByuN doing really well. I hope that his results have impressed somebody on some Casper team. I mean, I don't know if there's like, politics or what keeps him off teams, but ByuN is just so good. Like, so good at this game.
Usually, yeah. Last game was not too convincing. If this is the first time you saw ByuN, then you're like, well, why are they putting up so much? But he usually has a very great understanding of the matchup and is usually like always on top of them. He knows exactly when the Zerg is not looking at what location, eventually does damage and goes seamlessly into a late game. But last game, while he's usually good against Roach Ravager, it might have been some time, you know, since he's played against it. It wasn't not an unfair map. I was going to use that word. It's not unfair. It was a bad map for Terran in general. They're going to, you know, always have that moment where they try and push, you know, just an open area that's going to work better for the Zerg player. And the transition to Spire wasn't so much a transition. It wasn't into Mutiling Bling, but he did upgrade Lings and get units from the Spire. That was still probably a bit of a surprise as well. ByuN just also couldn't deal with the Ling run by. That was the most devastating part that has never let him mine from a third base. So he's got to make sure not to let that happen again, because King Sejong is going to be about the same, maybe even easier for Symbol to get counterattacks in. New Gettysburg is usually, you get to 3 bases, maybe get a bit of a wall, maybe a bunker, and you're pretty good. And he was unable to get anything like that up, and he wasn't able to rally to his third either, because his units kept getting destroyed on that rally. That's where it really was supposed to be held. He's mixing up his builds. Usually this is what he tries first, something other than the faster second barracks, and it loses, and then he goes back to the faster second barracks, and then it's like Gucci. To see it the reverse order and he lost the first game, I actually think ByuN's gonna lose this game too. I have very little faith when ByuN does any other build, basically. Any other build. Banshee, Liberators, tank pushes. The guy's really good, but for some reason it's just he shines with the faster stim medevacs. Roach Warren's again on the way, and ByuN will not be able to scout that. Not with the Reaper anyway, but he will be able to scout it with the medevac drop. Symbol does have Overlord speed, know exactly what's going on. He does see the factory. Of course, he saw the Hellions too, so he knew it wasn't a faster second racks. Tank push might follow this. I mean, that was a very old school thing to do. I think most players are just keeping that tank at home and growing the tank count and letting this do whatever damage it can. Usually not a lot, but Symbol not expecting the drop to the natural, doesn't have his queens in position.
Nice pickup. Gets a nice couple of those leg hits. Unfortunately, with the queens here, can't stay around for long. I think he knows this too, so pondering whether to go behind the mineral lines or just to the main. And it looks like the main is going to be the answer.
Yeah. Symbol should be on top of it, though.
Actually, pretty important that he's got... Oh, this is interesting. There's a heal up back here. I was going to say, important that he has creep spread at the towards his third. Otherwise, those queens would take forever to get back home. But maybe this was a trick. Maybe it wasn't. Either way, ByuN will find himself back on top of the hatchery. And that Widow Mine is off of cooldown once again. Spore Crawler already hitting the Liberator, so that's not going to get the AFK damage I think he was hoping it would. And, tries to pick it up. Nice scouting for like to see that out of Symbol. And Liberator actually gets out alive while this is going on too. So ByuN all over the map while this goes on. We can barely watch 2 locations, and he's busy macroing at home and microing it too.
Excuse me. So Symbol does a great job defending. ByuN tried his best to do what he could, and it wasn't too bad. It just wasn't exactly what you would want. And Symbol now starts his creep spreads here. He's breaking on the rocks, especially in case there was a tank push follow-up. Despite having Overlord speed, he was unable to scout the third CC that's just right at the front. That's a little unfortunate. You want to know how greedy you can be, as the 2-base tank push is fairly common on King Sejong. Looks like ByuN, did he not go for second engineering phase? No, he did. I just mistimed his 1-1. Whereas Symbol timed his pretty perfectly. It's going to be on the melee upgrades. So Roaches, Ravagers to cover your defense, upgrading for the eventual Ultralisk. See how fast he tries to get to that infestation pit. This Lings, these are the ones that really... I think there was more Lings last game. There was like 30 of them. But this type of attack was what really screwed ByuN's macro game up. He's going to try and replicate it. Gets a couple STVs as they aren't protected, and then probably have to dip out. Oh, not even. Marines just in time. Stim is on the way, almost done. Combat shields will have to follow it, so ByuN's not in a hurry to push out, and Symbol doesn't have to be in a hurry to defend, but it's not an infestation pits. It's the Baneling Nest and Spire again here. Maybe he will fully transition away from roaches, or maybe he'll play the game very similar to last and just get corruptors. Yeah, he's getting more roaches, so I guess it's gonna be for corruptors. This isn't bad for clearing up the creep spread. But it's also not going to do a lot of damage. Maybe some pot shots on the hatchery here. Does ByuN know about the Spire? No, he's never gotten really scouting in the main base ever, because that one drop that was supposed to get in there didn't even go in. That could be a surprise. And a pleasant one too if he continues dropping with these tanks. First real push out with Marines. Combat shields never started. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, ByuN. What's happening? This isn't ByuN's an imposter.
This is mistakes happening. I mean, this is not a tournament. There's double elimination. There's no extra room for mistakes, unfortunately. And Combat Shield's missing is massive for a lot of reasons, more so than like Baneling hits or anything like that. You got Corsair Biles lining and units that are stimmed. Roaches suddenly don't need as many shots to kill the Marines. I mean, this is not like, okay, well, you're moving past Marines, so you don't need it. Like, these are going to be part of his army for the rest of the game. This is a huge mistake.
It is, yes. He started his armory, but he's also not starting 2-2. Realizes his mistake on the combat shields, but still has to try and push here. Drops off to the right side. And it doesn't look like... Yeah, Symbol didn't react to this. He had creep spread acknowledging it a little bit sooner than he reacted, but takes forever. Only sees a handful of roaches. His third base might go down. These roaches are gonna make one at a time. It's not gonna work like this. All the Ravagers are over here. The tanks could get some really nice shots on one of those defenseless Ravagers now. And despite that combat shields mistake, ByuN is doing some really great damage. Trying to get the tanks doesn't work out. Drops down, going to the main base. At least Symbol predicted this much. But he just lost his third. Luckily, this is his fourth. You know, it's mining, and he didn't lose too many drones for it either, but he should not have lost that third. Corruptors are finally out. And that'll help deal with the, not only the drops, but hopefully these tank drops, which I don't think he realizes Marines aren't there anymore. He's not taking care of this, and the hatchery is slowly dying.
Well, if the second tank was in range...
Oh my god. Oh dear. He needs to transfuse that. Transfuse it!
14 health! It's gonna live. He has to back away.
Oh, there's some huge mistakes coming out from both players. But ByuN, a little less so. The combat shields didn't end up mattering.
Yeah, at least he has combat shields now, right? Like, that's...
Oh my god.
Call off at the time being, but yeah, that first off, that should have died, but at the same time, Symbol should never let it get close to dying. There's a lot of like, oh my god, what's going on for this game? But I guess for when we look at things right now, army supplies similar, worker counts similar, base counts technically similar. The fourth base finishing up for Symbol now. This way, if it was torn down, I mean, ByuN has a lot of tanks, and there's no ultras in play. There's no. Actually, are there no infestors? There's still no infestors, so it is pretty much brute force out of Symbol. Not a lot of finesse.
Yeah, the Corruptors add a little bit here, but I don't think it's going to go that well for him. I said Corruptors can help out a lot, makes the tank chops a little bit harder, and he has a decent attack avenue here. Percibiles aren't getting the best hits, and now all the roaches are gone. The Grouches will shortly fall. Supplies keeping very, very even. Oh, it kills a couple of his own Corruptors.
That one freaking tank seriously will not die, and I'm glad that's the case, I guess, but losing all the medevacs, a little bit of bio left, he's killing... Okay, thank God he targeted the hatchery. I'm like, don't shoot that queen! Shoot the damn hatchery!
Yeah, it looks like Larva was a bit of a problem for Symbol on the Remax, or not Remax, but getting units back up. At least this one can be transferred over to. But ByuN's on a fourth base. That's an actual fourth base, not a main command center, and ByuN just looks... Again, despite the combat shields thing, looks so good. Simple. It's just he played very slow. Like, I can't believe he let the third base die, but it happens. But then beyond that, you know, not paying attention to the hatchery that was getting so low. Yeah. I don't know, it was not nearly as convincing as last game. All 3-3 has started out for ByuN. Symbol is not anywhere close. He said, I mean, if he had infestors at any point here, even right now, he's getting infestors, I would feel a lot more confident in his comeback potential. The combo is so deadly, but he is not reaching for the infestation pit despite banking enough to do so. Cash has done nothing. He skipped combat shields because he's a god. Well, that's okay.
That's a fair point. We made that mistake.
He didn't look like a god last game. He looked like an imposter.
Well, he does do that thing where he'll look really bad and then look really good afterwards in comparison, and I think he almost does that on purpose to a degree.
Yeah, he tried to do it versus Hydra and then messed up.
Right? Okay,
that's
well,
game.
flying too close to the sun or not, Symbol ends up losing all of his ground army. Well, this is some Corruptors in the sky, and Medevacs might go down. There's still no way to deal with the tanks. GG gets called, and ByuN will take game number 2, tying it up 1-1.
Yep. Let's get into the ace match. The other semifinals going on the Korean stream, twitch.tv/Olimoleague. And we'll go to a break. See you guys soon. Alright, so it's the ace match. In the top left, as the pink Zerg, his map choice? Yeah, it's Symbol.
And it did just tie it up, but spawning the bottom right side, it's going to be the blue Terran player, ByuN. Who, as we discussed, does have a history, and I'm not making this up. He has an actual history of like losing games pretty badly, then coming back to win from behind pretty significantly.
Yeah, he has done that before. Just the Hydra games really made it like, okay, so if he lost one game, he certainly loses another to Symbol, but Symbol's the one that really looked like he was warming up that game despite being the second game. That's lack of awareness on the third base was whatever. It was really the fourth base that made me go like, oh shit, what's happening with Symbol? Is there like the lag going on, or is he just confused? Like, what's happening? I have no idea, but he should be on top of it more so this game. I said I was a little surprised to see him choose this map because, of course, you know, if ByuN had just lost and he won the first game and it was the ace match, I would expect Frozen Temple from him. It's a smaller map. So, you know, of course, there's always the risk of the 3-Vax Reaper, and that's first and foremost for why maybe you don't pick this against a Terran. But it's also just that it's a smaller map, you know? You don't have that benefits of being the super defensive Zerg who can hold on against the rally. You know, it's going to be instantly rallied, and there's a couple of abusive positions, too, for tanks, like here. Same thing we saw versus Neeb, except maybe a little bit stronger. So I don't know Symbol's plan here. Maybe he'll be the more aggressive one, and that's why he chose this. Or maybe it's just a very familiar and comfortable map for him, despite all the reasons I listed it might be better for ByuN. And ByuN is going for his typical ByuN build. Second Rax. He's on the way. That was a very quick scout. He scouts and then immediately turns home, too afraid of the Lings wrapping around. But we know that Symbol only made 2, so it's not that scary. Just play Ring Around the Rosie for like a second. Ooh. I really like that he instantly turned around though. Like that was, oh shit, that hatchery was not the time that it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Man, side note, Ring Around the Rosie is so dark. Like it's actual like
yes,
meanings
it is.
and stuff.
Yes, isn't
that's
that like
something that's like don't teach. It's with the Black Plague or whatever. Like and everyone dying.
Yeah.
We all fall down. Like yo, why do we teach kids that, man?
To make light of a very grim situation hundreds of years ago. I don't know. But it's like, I know there's like that one song that's really dark and it includes it, right? It's always creepy when you put kids' voices surrounded by like the ambiance that's creepy or...
Right?
It's surprising, I guess, you know, you say, why do we teach kids that? But why is it so scary to put kids in like dark hallways? You know? It just is.
I blame The Shining. They ruined it for everyone else.
It's now so ingrained, I suppose, that even if you haven't watched The Shining, like I have never watched it, that like any other trailer for a horror story tells you it's bad news. Like, I wonder, without movies, if you heard, like, la 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 la, like, out in the middle of a field, would you be scared? Or would you be like, where's that child? Because now, I mean, of course, I would be completely terrified and run away. Who knows what it was like before movies? Old people, that's what. That's who. This Reaper's getting a pretty good scout. Nothing about movies. Roachborn again from Symbol. I'm so surprised he chooses to play this against ByuN when he showcased some pretty good Needling Bling against Keen. Maybe he figures that's exactly what ByuN is going to be good against, because that's what he's facing most of the time. But like I said, it seems to be the overwhelming amounts of Needling Bling that kills ByuN. That's how Solar got a lot of the games that he won in that best of 9. Not through roaches. Maybe ByuN's little... You know, he had to remember how to face roaches, and that's why he lost the first game but took the second? I don't know. But especially on Frozen Temple, as I mentioned, those tank spots, I don't like roaches, unless they're going to be very aggressive, in which case, go for it. That's when the short map goes in your favor. He does have lings and roaches on the way, but no, it's not going to be followed up with any more. These illusion chambers. Combat shield starts. Thank God, doesn't forget that. And tanks start as well, so this might just be a 2-base follow-up, which I think is going to be especially deadly. I like this choice a lot from ByuN. He hasn't gone on engineer base yet, so I think that's going to be the case. Gets on top of these roaches before they're quite ready, but will not be able to take out all of them. You know, consider that there are more on the way. That was a better choice to pick up there. Overlord drop is ready to go. And he wants to catch ByuN picking up medevac after medevac and dropping, you know, not rallying at home. It didn't end up being the 2-base committal that I thought it would be, like not even a 3rd Rax over this 3rd CC, but he did delay his 2 engineering bays in favor of tanks. So again, not the, it usually is like one extreme or the other, but there are some in-betweens you can fit in there. Like this, and I like it on this map a lot. Couple Marines instantly react, so with the SCV pool, it's not as bad as it could be. Only 3 go down, but 2 more were pretty low. That is all the lings, none of them escaped. That's all ByuN has to worry about. Now he can focus entirely on this push, which might just be too much of a surprise for Symbol, who doesn't have really anything. His route is only just being made. That might... No, that can't be game. There's lings on the way. They're gonna get on that tank, but... I mean, the Marines aren't really being touched here. I think that is game. Oh my god. Well, ByuN.
I told you, he does. It's like he does it for dramatic effect. Like if this guy in another life was an actor, I tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now that puts us in a position where basically we're waiting for Neeb. Oh, did Neeb already win? He's out of game. Or lose, I guess.
I don't know. I know he went up 1, and then we got into this game, so I didn't follow if there was any closer or further or not. But Gumio will still go through, or not Gumio, excuse me. ByuN will still go through to the finals as we expected, although Symbol did certainly make us question that. There's no doubt in my mind about that, so good on you, Symbol. The question comes down to, though, yeah, will Neeb have 2-0'd Gumio? Will that go to a game 3? Do we go into that? Is it ByuN versus Neeb then up next? We'll find out soon, but I guess we'll go to a commercial break while we do figure that out. So once again, thanks for watching, guys. Don't go anywhere, and more of the Olimoleague when we come back.